All right, welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at a couple of scrap pieces of plywood back here and some OSB that's been sitting out in the field, needs a home, and we want to try to repurpose these junk pieces of wood into an Ohio Brooder.
Cock-a-doodle crew! Cock-a-doodle crew! Cock-a-doodle crew!
All right, so I started making one of the sides of the brooder. We're going to make a 4 foot by 3 foot box that is going to be 18 inches deep, and that way it's going to have some legs under it, and you'll see how the chicks can walk underneath, but it's going to have a lid on it, and that's what makes it an Ohio Brooder, that it will contain the heat inside. The pieces of wood that I happen to find here, scrap, are going to make 4 foot by 3 foot work out pretty good for me, so that's what I'm going to do. I've heard 2 by 4. I've heard people make 4 by 4s, but we're going to do a 4 by 3. All right, so we're back inside, and I've got some pieces of dunnage here actually, and we're going to make these into the legs and that go in each corner. I'm going to go with the 21 inches tall. So here we go. All right, so we got our 21 inch. All right, so we've got our 2 ends with the legs on. Now we just got to put the other sides on, and we will then look at the electrical side of this operation. Not so sure about this plywood. As I said before, it's really wet, it's falling apart. I don't know. We're just going to try it and see what happens. And if anything, I'll just take it off, toss it out, and find something else. Hi, sis.
I'm outside.
What?
Can I go in the pen?
Yeah, this pen is for you.
For me and Eliza?
Yeah, we're going to keep you in this pen.
Why? Why do we
Because
have...
this is where the wild animals go.
Yeah, but chickens are going in here, I know.
How do you know?
Can we just guess? Hello! Jimmy's. And this. I bet everybody is going to watch our video can't see my word. It says awesome, kid. How will that hold that many chicks? They could scooch under.
Here working on the Ohio Brooder this morning, making some changes to the original plan. Since I did an 18-inch sidewall, I kind of looked up the plans a little bit more online and found that most of them call for a 12-inch height. And so the nice thing about having the taller height is that I could lower down the roof and have a high sidewall to hold insulation on top of this brooder. And so that's what I'm going to do. I went ahead just now and lowered down the supports for the roof of it, and I will be installing the roof. I'm going to go ahead and screw it on tight, and instead of making the top hinged and I will hinge the side, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. So this video is going to turn into more about the modifications that I'm making to the basic Ohio Brooder setup, the way that I'm doing it myself, that might give you some ideas on how you want to do it as well. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is I would like a hinged door on the side so I can flip it up and look at the chicks and refill their food and water that's inside the brooder, which will be some inside and some outside, I think. So anyway, we're going to take out a couple of these screws, cut across this side panel here, install some hinges, and have a flip-up door on the side. All right, so I didn't have footage while I was doing my electrical work in there. I'm not an electrical expert, and so there's really no point in watching me do that part of the job. I would Google it and check out somebody who really knows what they're doing to make it look nice. But you can see from underneath the brooder that I have both my lights set up. One of them happens to have a switch because that's just, I bought them at 2 different times and they only had one with a switch. The second time I bought one. So the nice thing now is I'll be able to turn off that switch there if I want to just run one bulb at a time. So that's sort of a happy accident. And anyway, I've got a flip up door up there. I'll show you a little bit closer. And basically you can see from the underside that the bulbs are working. They're on now, and I will be replacing them with heat lamps, but I just wanted to test it out and see how it goes, and I'll probably run it kind of a test run out here with the heat lamps. I did not put the lights really high up in the brooder because of the, possibility that you'll get that board too hot, and so I do have them kind of low, but we'll see how that works out for us, and it's pretty much getting close to ready for chicks. So a little bit of insulation on top and put it out in the trailer where we're going to be brooding them and set up that area, so we're real close. All right, so I put the brooder back up where it's going to be set in the stock trailer where we're going to be brooding the babies. So you can see here that we've got a flip up door, and so we can see in there easier, and the kids hopefully will be able to operate that with this latch here to hold it up while you're changing out food, water, seeing if any of the chicks have problems. Down on hands and knees, it's not bad to see underneath here. As the chicks grow, we'll raise this up on blocks just on the 4 corners, so get a little bit easier to see underneath it then. Okay, so as you saw earlier, I went ahead and put this lid back on, and I dropped it down a little bit to make a smaller space to hold the heat underneath it. But with this height of sidewall, my plan is I've got some ceiling tiles, acoustic ceiling tiles that probably have some insulation value, and so we'll be putting that on here, and then wood chips that will also be what's underneath here in the stock trailer for the baby chicks. So we'll have a nice thick insulated blanket on top of here to hold the heat, because we're really early in the season for having chicks basically outdoors and in the cold weather, and that's what we're utilizing the Ohio Brooder system, because we are starting out in the colder weather. So hopefully this works out good for us, and maybe next winter we can look at doing chicks even earlier, or having options if the weather's not great and not worrying about losing the chicks because they're plenty warm in this system. So 4 foot by 3 foot Ohio Brooder, and on another video we'll show you how it's working when there's baby chicks in it. Thanks for watching.